Isha Kulkarni, and I am social media manager and event planner at VR Pistachio. And welcome to today's event, How to Travel as Solo Woman and Rock at It, organized and presented by VR Pistachio. So let me start. I'm very excited to have you all here and grateful to have our charming, energetic, wonderful speaker, Špela Sedej. Let me start today's conversation by telling you all about VR Pistachio. Then I will introduce you to our speaker and we will get started to our event that you all are very much looking forward to. VR Pistachio is a global community of, for, and by relocating spouses. This community is built by relocating spouses Aditi Patil and Dipali Paul. VR Pistachio focuses on empowering relocating spouses to navigate this adventure. We support relocating spouses by helping them to learn, upskill, network, and build their local presence. So what is a Pistachio vision? No relocating spouse is ever alone. And our mission is unlock the personal, professional, and economical potential of every relocating spouse. So these are the VR Pistachio offerings, and we offer upskilling webinars, networking events, and mentoring programs where we organize broader programs for relocating spouses because we understand how important it is once you relocate to a new country to build your pod and network. So now meet our founders, Aditi Patil and Dipali Paul. We have Dipali attending this session today. So every time we have asked that, we get asked this question multiple times that why pistachio, what's in the name? So just like a pistachio, we are open. It's a happy nut in China. We are happy. We are globally available, and we are tough and nutty, of course. So without further ado, I am going to introduce you to our wonderful speaker, Špela Sedej. She is charming, she's adventurous, she's passionate about the world, cultures, mountains, lakes, and also about marketing. She is European bred, raised, and proud Slovenian female master in strategic communication. She is our today's speaker, Špela Sedej. She expanded her horizons as she's been traveling more to new and interesting places. Her background is in sales and marketing, so we can call her true marketing warrior. Best creativity and fresh ideas only come with letting the soul and her heart wild are what she uses as the directions in her life. She loves to live her life by the Latin phrase, acta non verba, that is action over words. So here's to you, Spela.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Hi from Slovenia. Thank you for having me. We are Pistachio. So I'm looking forward to introduce myself and give you a bit of insight into solo traveling, either as a female or just as a person, to not be like defining in that gender specific way. So absolutely looking forward. Thank you. Okay, so should I just share my screen now with the crowd? Okay,
yes.
Then let's do that. Okay.
Isha, do you want to stop sharing your screen?
Yes. Give me a second.
Okay. Do you see me now?
No, not yet. We can still see Isha's screen.
Okay.
Just a second. I think some technical. For some reason, it's not showing me the option of not sharing the screen.
Okay, but perhaps guys in between while you're waiting, you can perhaps just let's say, give us a bit of feedback in the chat box. So just that I see what kind of audience do we have here today. And I have just a simple question for you guys. Have you ever traveled solo? And in case you have, for how long? How long was the trip for? Either in days, weeks, or something. Just that I see a bit like what the audience is today about. So you can just share in the chat.
So Spela just wanted to tell you that you can share your screen. We are back on this.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, just tell me when you will see me.
Yeah, we can see your screen, Spela.
Okay, great. Okay, yeah. So I'm getting some answers here. Never for now. Okay. Unless it was just 2 girls to yes. Like even even if you travel like inside of your country, like domestic travels, that I still consider as a solo. It just depends who you kind of. My definition of a solo traveler is pretty much like when you start traveling, like if you go alone or you go with somebody. So it's just that, like to be simplified. Okay, so here we go. In between each shot, I would just ask you for a bit of technical assistance because I will be focusing on the presentation. But if something else pops up in the chat, please just let me know so that I will
Sure.
be able to see it.
Happy to.
Yeah.
Sure.
And studying abroad here from Andrea, I would say it counts. It's like you went there probably on your own. And when you were there, you might have been like around alone and traveling a bit as well. So yeah. Okay, so here we go. How to travel solo and rocket it, I said. And I will be presenting this as a very, let's say, not conventional way. I will be straight answering to some of the questions I got beforehand from you guys. And it's more of my personal experience. It's not so technically, I'm very much about the quality of the experience and not so much, I want to be in all 195 countries of the world or however you want to count them. So I really, really will just share my personal experience. So this is a photo of me from a hike in New Zealand. So this was a wonderful hike with let's say legs. It's in the northern island, and yeah, it took me like 8 hours, and it was amazing view. So here we go. I'll just continue. Okay, so just a bit of insight of who is Špela Sedej. So I'm 34 years old woman who traveled solo as a woman for 3.5 years, and I had to stop due to Corona. So I am right now at the moment, I am back in my home country, Slovenia. So I'm in Europe where I was also, yeah, born. I also got lost and sick abroad. I am a very enthusiastic Lindy Hop dancer, and I'm really, really waiting that things get better and we will be able to dance again. I financed my travels alone, so it was pretty much my savings and what I did in between, like work. I also go to the bars and restaurants alone. Of course, not all the time, but I get many, many times the questions, oh, how can you just go to a restaurant or to a bar alone? I would be afraid. I don't feel comfortable going without my partner or friends. But yeah, I mean, if you're solo, you have to do this. Otherwise, I would just lose a lot of weight, I think. Okay, I can travel with 2 backpacks or a carry-on only. It didn't start that way, but after you travel and you see that what you really need, and you don't need like 300 pounds of stuff. I was very afraid at some, let's say, mutual points during my travels. Like there were some dangerous and not very nice situations, but you can imagine, you know, everything can happen when you're abroad, or not just abroad, also at home. I'm not really a person with a lot of patience, just a bit of my personality. I fell in love while traveling. I also hitchhiked and sat into a car of a stranger. I hitchhiked, let's say, the whole Ireland. I was really interesting. I got in trouble abroad, but people helped me. This is also what I learned, that no matter which country I was in, there are good people in any country, no matter what the media says. Yeah, I got almost mugged a few times, but I believe that the world is still beautiful. And I believe that, like, if you're really passionate about something and you work for it, you can achieve it. And one of my, let's say, yeah, most important learnings was to listen to myself and to trust my guts, to trust my instincts of what to do, when to do it. And, you know, still, if you're being like cautious all the time, things can happen. So, okay, that would be a bit of who I am. Okay, so here I will present a bit where I traveled, just that you have a bit of an impression where I was. And so, yeah, pretty much it started with Europe, where I'm from. So I won't even count Europe so much, because I did most of the countries, let's say. And then I spent a lot of time in Sweden and Iceland and Faroe Islands. I will also show a few photos from Iceland and Faroe Islands, because I am very much a hiking girl. I like north. I don't really like the heat so much. I'm not such a beach and palm tree person. So I will be focusing on that mostly. And also my travels are mostly focused on that. So from Europe in 2017, then I left for New Zealand, where I stayed like for a year. And then shortly I went to Australia and then to the Philippines. I landed then in Vietnam and Cambodia, and then I went to India, where I stayed for more than a month, yeah. And then from India, I went to Africa. I was in Tanzania, where I went to also safari, and I climbed Kilimanjaro. And I went to Mozambique and South Africa. And then from South Africa, I went back up. I went to Jordan, Israel, and then Armenia, Bulgaria. And then slowly I went to Canada, where I again stayed for a year. And then I went for a couple of months to Seattle, to the United States and Portland. And so I then stopped my travels and I came to Europe because of Corona. So just that you have a bit of overview where I was. And yeah, I haven't been to the South America or Mexico or those countries. Okay. So this is one of the photos from Iceland to see like just why, you know, people ask me, why did you travel? Why did you just start traveling? So this photo sums it up pretty much. I like nature. I love nature, to see its wonders, its magic. And this was one of the places where I stayed for a few months in the west of Iceland. It's that in the background is like a glacier. And this is where you hear your soul breathe. It's so peaceful. And it's just something where you start discovering yourself and growing on what you want, what are your needs, and not just what you're pushed in from the society. And this is also one of my favorite points of the travel in. It was Faroe Islands. They're not very famous as Iceland, but they are very, very beautiful gem. And these photos, which I'll be showing throughout the presentation, are all mine. Like I don't have any fancy camera. So these are photos taken with my phone because I'm not I didn't have any, big shot cameras with me to avoid any robbery or something. So that was one of the things, to keep my things to minimum and not be afraid all the time that somebody will steal from me. So Faroe Islands, Casa del waterfall. It's a very famous waterfall, and I loved it how when the wind blows, that this waterfall starts like falling in a very interesting way, as you can see it here in the photo. So this is the north. It's very minimalistic, and Faroe Islands are between Iceland, Great Britain, and Denmark. I mean, they go under Denmark, but they are autonomous as their own unit, let's say. Okay, that was just a bit of what are the views that amaze me the most. So, okay, where to start, right? So this was my unpacking room. So you see it's loaded with things. It was everything all over, what to take, what to not take. And of course, where to start? With the things like what will you take with you, what is important and what is not. A lot of questions come to me like how to keep the costs down. So here are the photos of from New Zealand. Here is me when I did my laundry. So how to keep the costs down, we all know that transportation, let's say, and accommodation are the costs which pretty much take the most of, our budget. And here is me staying with a friend in New Zealand. So this is also how I traveled, if I could, to stay mostly in hostels with people that I met on the way, with couch surfing, with through where I worked, and if I knew somebody, I then stayed with them, or just just in Facebook groups like Girls Love to Travel, and they were offering their couch or their rooms. So this is also me, just kind of a funny photo from New Zealand, and how also to keep the costs down. And I did my own laundry, and then a girl needs to dry her laundry, and here's me waiting in the nature to get it dry. This year, I found it funny that how Kiwis, as New Zealanders are also called, use their microwaves, which are not, let's say, functional anymore, as a mailbox. So this was a mailbox in front of a house, and it's totally normal. And I was asking the owner, and he was like, yeah, sure, why not? The rain doesn't go in, it's very easy to open and operate, so why not? So just, funny things on the way. Here I put some straight facts about how to keep the costs down. It's pretty much very similar to how you keep your costs down when you are living wherever you're living. So the first thing is be real about how much you afford to spend. Don't overspend, because with all the impulses and all the offers around, it can get very tricky and very it just drags you in that you would spend way more than you could afford. So just pay attention to that, because if not, in the end, you won't be in a good place. If you can, try to book things ahead, as travels, as accommodation, or anything, because you can always negotiate a bit, or you can do some. Or the other thing is also the last minute deals, if you can do that time wise. That is also an option, but usually booking ahead gives you a bit more of more space. So that. Look for accommodation as couchsurfing, hostels, and locals. As I already mentioned, I had very good experiences with using all these platforms, which I'm sure you're familiar with. Eat simple food. There's a lot of foodies out there, a lot of people who travel just to enjoy all sorts of food, and that is a wonderful thing to do. It's not always the most, let's say, the cheapest way to travel, because eating in like more expensive restaurants or more specific and let's say expensive food also, you know, takes more of the budget. So I also try to eat simple food and not, it depends. I wasn't um, I wasn't only, you know, focusing on bread or water. I was very interested in trying other food. So that was also one of my let's say goals. But again, like inside of my budget. Drink water. That will also save a lot of money as opposed to any other drinks. Pack light. Ask the locals how and get familiar with the culture country you're traveling to as well. So the locals usually know, you know, the best deals, the best things to get them in a more affordable ways. Or, you know, sometimes it's also like if you go to that sightseeing attraction, it will cost you a lot to get the entrance fee. But if you go to, if you ask a local how and what, they usually have some ideas, like to go to a very similar thing, but for, you know, half of price or even for free. So it's always nice to talk to them as well. Minimize your clothes. That is absolutely one of the how to let's say afford more for less, that you don't have so much baggage and it doesn't kind of weight you down. And follow and read travelers who have been through the same and ask specific questions. This is also what I like most, if people give me specific questions, because this is how we can help you most, like with very specific questions. So it means that we see you've gone through things, you did your research, and so yeah, that is like with anything, I would say. Okay. So there was a question, how do you decide on where to stay? So here I just put some examples and photos to see how I traveled. So this is me here. It was a bit of a lot of load. That is picture of me in Sweden because I had my tent and everything here. And this is a photo from Faroe Islands, the houses with the grass as on their roofs. So it was also a very nice thing, like accommodation style, uh, to try it. It's how they have it on those islands. And this was a photo of a family I stayed with on Faroe Islands, and they were eating. Here is you see in this dish. It was a whale. So they're eating like whales there, and this is also why this is very. It's still a big issue there. This is why they're still not in European Union, because in European Union is forbidden to hunt whales. But this is like still a very traditional thing over there. So it's was also interesting to hear what they think, how they feel about it, and this is why I want to stay with local people, so that I hear from their mouth what exactly is happening, what are they thinking, what are their problems, and so yeah, just like an experience. Okay, so this is also one of the ways how you can afford to travel better. It's a van life. Here, this was in New Zealand, was me taking a photo of a friend who I met there, and he invited me to go with him for a short trip for a little bit around, and I went, and it was a wonderful experience. And of course, it takes a lot of self let's say work and preparation to live like this, but you can save a lot, and it also gives you very raw and pure natural experience if you're into that, like here, you know, when you wake up in the morning to this view. So this was one of the most wonderful experiences. I will just check with you guys if you're still here and alive. Okay, you are.
Yes, Spela, this is so interesting.
And
I just want to start a solo trip like tomorrow. This is
Yeah.
so
yeah,
interesting.
very inspiring.
So yeah, this was just a random, it was one of the random trips in New Zealand, Northern Ireland. So it was very, very nice. And let's say again, like how to afford better traveling. It's using a lot of, let's say, shared transportation thing. So this is, let's say, the bus. I think this was my bus from Delhi to Amritsar in India. And this is also, people ask me a lot, how that does that look like? It's, I was very surprised. It's a very luxury, like in my eyes, bus. You have your own compartment. You can sleep there. There are, people. And I just learned that I shouldn't book the compartment directly over the tire, because the roads in India are very bumpy. And like this trip took me so many hours, but I was literally flying in my compartment when we went over some holes on the road, because the bus goes and you're like, whoa, whoa. At the beginning was funny, but then it starts hurting. So yeah, everything happens on the way. Okay, so that was also a question. How do you make sure you feel safe? Um, that's a very tricky question in sense of what does it make you feel safe? But as females, we know that we are more exposed. It is more, let's say, it's not the same as traveling as a man. So I just take precaution in sense of I don't go out at night. I don't go to places where they're not perceived as safe. um, I don't I don't try to be I try to be respectful to the country and the culture I'm with. I don't provoke, or saying something that might provoke something. And even doing all this, it can still get you into not nice situations. And like also when I landed in Manila in Philippines, and I landed at like 10 p.m. and Manila is not, the safest place on the earth. And yeah, I had my hostel booked for 2 nights. I paid it, everything. But when I arrived and my taxi took me there, the hostel wasn't existing. There was literally no building there, and we were looking for it with the taxi driver for almost an hour, where that building is, because I said I don't want to go out at night in Manila, with 2 backpacks, because I'm such an easy target like this. And then after an hour, he was just like, look, ma'am, like I cannot be here with you anymore, go out, like this hotel is not existing. So he just left me there. And I was very, very afraid. And also, like, a guy approached me. um, so yeah, and he said that he will help me, and he knows a hostel that it's very good. And I was like, no, 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 sir, it's okay, I'll find my way. And my internet wasn't working well, so that at least I could find something. So it was very tricky. But this man then still said, look, I will help you. He said, I have, he said this, I mean, he could lie to me, but uh, he said, I am from Pondicherry. I have a sister. So please, like, I know how it is, like, trust me. So, and I said, okay, sir, but like, I will just follow you on the public road where are people. I won't go with you anywhere else. And he was okay with that. So he took me like on this road, and he really took me then to a hostel. It was very nice hostel, and I even came back to this hostel when I was returning, like when I was departing the country later on. So that was one of the good experiences, but you never know. So just like this. And also these photos, this is me in first photo is in New Zealand with this bike. So feeling safe. You pretty much go with the instinct a little bit, and try not to go alone with a man somewhere or something. This is what I also felt was nice in India. In Mumbai, I didn't know that the trains were separately made for women as here. So I was boarding the train on where the men were, and then some men there, because we were like sardines. And then some man told me, look, you're a woman, you should go to another part of the train. So I found that it was very nice from them too. And here below, it's just a bit, now technically you cannot really see, but here I was traveling with a motorbike, and this is my motorbike here. And my tire was, in the middle of the road, went flat. And it's like you would be at home. You have to find a mechanic shop, a repair shop like I did here. And you repair the tire and you go on. Or this, I met this couple on the beach in Philippines, and then they took me for a special travel or a trip that day. And they said, we will show you some things they don't show to tourists. And they did. It was such a wonderful trip. So, these kind of things happening around. So here is also one of the photos when they asked me how to, feel safe or so on. And it's again, to every country you go, like to feel, to respect the country you're going to dress appropriately, to wear, to not use the language or something that, it's not, let's say, respected, and, cover yourself as a woman if this is like the country, how it goes by. And this is also the Golden Temple from Punjab. And like I show this photo sometimes when they ask me, like, always keep here, always keep your valuables in a scene, like where you can touch them at all times, especially in the places where it's very crowded. Keep your belongings, like I usually had things, also in my underwear, sometimes some money, some cards, like, or in my bra. You just kind of do things and keep your valuables. Also, when you sleep in a hostel or in a shared room, I slept with my phone and wallet and stuff like with me, like I had it on me while I was sleeping. I didn't put it, under my backpack or something, because if somebody takes my backpack, then it's hard. And okay, so this is just a bit of a list. I can also share the let's say the link. I just found it also today. It's a country with peace index, like which are the safest countries in the world. There are not all of them here listed, but on this link there are. And of course, Iceland and New Zealand are, of course, every time ranked as the safest. And my country, Slovenia, ranks 5th. So also our country, 2 million people here, it's perceived as a very safe country. So if this is something like you could kind of refer to when you're choosing where to go, it's also one of the ways how to, and mostly like Europe is, let's say, safe also. And yeah. So there was a question, don't you feel awkward doing everything alone? It might, but now it feels awkward doing things together, to be honest, because you get so used to doing things at your own pace. You stop whenever you want, you eat whenever you want, you sleep whenever you want, and so on. So this is also, one of the perks of being alone. So these are some of the photos. Oops. These are one of the photos from my trip in Vietnam, when I was on my motorbike, and I went on these roads here, and like these are all my photos. It was closer to northern of Vietnam, and it was close to the border with China. So I was very, very impressed with nature. I'm always looking for nature. I'm not so much impressed with buildings and cities. Of course, I look at them, but I'm more impressed with the country, like the natural and water systems. So this is also one of the things where you can find your peace, as I say. This is how I felt doing things alone. Um, you just have to go and see that as a woman, in my opinion, you're the most powerful creature in this world. We can do, so many things as a woman. We are considered stronger and more tough as men in many men. Not, I don't mean just like, I don't mean physically, but we are the creatures who make the world go round and make the world go on. We can give birth. We are mamas. We can do multitasking when a lot of men cannot do that. Okay, I'm just reading the, yes, okay, the internet. And this here, I don't know why the photos got mixed up a little bit, but okay. So this is me swimming with the dolphins. They're wild dolphins, so we were looking for them. This was in New Zealand, and we were looking for them. And then where they were, they stopped the boat and we went into the water. And I am somewhere here, just behind this one. So it was very nice experience how they swim around you. And here I went scuba diving, and with this turtle here, this is me. And this is here, this should be a shark. So I went swimming with the sharks. It was very, very interesting experience. My heart was beating so hard, like it was whoa, 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 whoa. But yeah, I did it. Okay. This is in Australia, and I was on the Rottnest Island, and these little creatures called quokkas are all over that island, and they come closer to you like this. So that was a very nice experience, and also alone. I didn't feel awkward being alone here. So also I'm a very big fan of animals. So these are some of my photos on the way. With koalas, of course, they're protected. So I didn't dare, to go, and I didn't have let's say, the magic experience to see them in the nature. So here on the top right, I spotted while I was hiking a little penguin with the eggs in New Zealand. And here this big reptile, let's say, was in the Philippines. And here, the photo was nice. It was interesting to see, in the world where you go, like it was just a pig running on the street. I think this was somewhere in Cambodia, like just the pig running through and like, hey, and go on, which we're not used to in some parts of the world. So what I always say, when you're traveling, you're not going to travel because you want to have there everything what you have at home, but you want to experience something else. So challenge yourself. I always say, take opportunities coming your way. This is me being on the summiting the highest peak of Africa, Tanzania, at 341 feet, or almost 6,000 meters of how high it is. And this is me, so that you can see that traveling is not just always looking your best and always being fresh and ooh la la. So here is me, because I was suffering with altitude sickness as well. So it's me swollen eyes when I woke up in the morning and already being very tired. It took me altogether 8 days, or let's say 7, to do this trip. It was very, very, it's very hard with the altitude sickness. And this is also challenging yourself, because when I went traveling, I was 30 years old. So I don't think age is a limit, but absolutely you do things differently as opposed to if I would be going when I was 20 and now, because 20s I would probably focus more on partying or not. And now my job was being a marketing and sales manager before in Germany. And here I just wanted jobs where I don't know, I don't need to be really in charge, in that sense that I can be um, yeah, just to kind of do the work and tell me what to do. And one of the experiences was also to work on a dairy farm. There were 500 cows, and yeah, that was just how I was helping the little calves to eat and take care of the cows. It was very hard working experience. This is me in Africa. I was helping to teach students in high school in northern of Tanzania. So that was also a very interesting experience. This is also how, one of my ways, like I said, how to assimilate with people's culture, how they think, what they eat, what they feel, what they are, telling you. And this is how I want my travelers to look like, to live like they live, to hear it from their experiences, what is wrong, what is right. And yeah, let's say I consider myself very German in sense of punctuality. I like to be very punctual, and I don't like being late, and um, I don't feel respected if somebody's being late on me. So this is very German thing, let's say. And in Africa, that is, you could think that that's not really the thing to be on time. And one of the things it really stuck with me is that in Africa, they said, yeah, the bus might be coming now or tomorrow or in 3 hours. And you're just like, okay, so I just like, how? And then they said, every time you need to wait, this means that, the universe or the God has given you more extra time, that something else can happen, that you can meet somebody else. And it's kind of extra time giving to you. And it's considered very rude if you're even being impatient and so on. So that was a very different perspective from what I'm used to, what we were raised with, or how professional or um, business protocol is. So that was one of the things. And here's the schools are also very hard to, especially the public ones. At this one, there are like 50 students there, and it was interesting. So lovely solo woman destinations. Like it's very hard to answer these questions. I just put here a few of them. But I'm not making the justice to other countries where I was. It depends really what you're looking for. That is very, very, because I know that a lot of girls are going now to Malaysia, and that famous Bali and so on. This again goes if you're into beaches, into these things. But then any country can be a good solo woman with just more precautions, and you kind of just have to organize a bit more, because every country offers so much. And you can go anywhere, like just with the guide, and it really depends. Like for me, yeah, these countries and all the other countries were also nice, but perhaps I didn't have, the nicest experiences everywhere. But it again depends, some people have good experiences, some people don't. I had bad experiences somewhere in Africa when they attacked us in the middle of the night. by throwing a bit stone on our car, and you know, things like this. Or I had many issues in India with men touching me, with men, like I had a man jump on me in the middle of the street at 2 p.m. and telling me, you're beautiful, and I hacked and nobody helped me, and I had to kick him on the floor, and still nobody helped me, and I was afraid that he will attack me back, and things like this. So as a solo woman, if something happens, you're pretty much on your own, and even if you do everything what the book says you should to be safe, like, you can never know what can happen. So, but none of these events made um, me think that the country wasn't beautiful or whatever, because, you know, as they also told me in India, no, like every hand has 5 fingers, and that is so true. So this is in Turkey. I was very impressed with Turkey. And here as well, like, this photo is from Turkey, and called the Land of Horses, how Cappadocia, where you go with these air balloons up in the air. And here is me, I was taking a photo from the air, and it's very, very nice landscape. It's like magical, romantic. A lot of couples come here as well, and very nice people and nice trips around. This is also in Turkey. It's in a place called Pamukkale. It's a nice, yeah, these little pools with this water, and you just walk around. On the other side, you can also go in and take a bath. Not in these the nicest ones, but similar ones. So these are all the, let's say, destinations which are also nice for the photos, you know, when people can take nicer photos. And Turkey is also a country with a lot of good food, a lot of sweet things. Like I have a huge sweet tooth, so I'm crazy about sweet things. So this is me in Jordan, in Petra, and it was also one of the things that I was very afraid, like, to go alone as Jordan as a Muslim country. But, you know, again, I was talking to girls who went there. I met some locals beforehand, and I said, no, I will go, I will try. And for me, Jordan was a wonderful experience. I didn't have any major issues. Also, the men were very respectful, and I would absolutely go again to Jordan. Yeah. So this was Petra, and was the courtesy of a kind guy standing behind me and take this wonderful photo of me in Petra. So this is also one of the things, you know, don't be afraid to go. This is in Africa. These are my photos from safari trip. And you see here, I made a joke when I saw this photo. You know, the lioness, she seems a bit angry with the lion, because you know how men are. They sometimes do stupid things, and then, you know, upsala. And then also, it's also in animal world, you know, the female show that you're not good today. So yes, and the elephants here, like the babies, and zebras here, the cheetah with the babies. And like I said, for me, it wasn't about taking the best photos, about being in all sightseeing places, but it was more about the experience. And sometimes I didn't even take photos because I was so impressed with the views, or my phone, like, my battery died and I couldn't. So it's just that. And I don't really, I'm not no blogger or so on, because yeah, it takes a lot of time to run a blog well, and you know, good. And I just rather spend time and money and everything on my travels, and give experience to myself. And I always answer, and I'm happy to give a bit of insight when people ask me, but just me giving a blog, I didn't decide to do it. But I read other people's blogs and websites. And this is again me in the mountains. This was in Canada, and it's in Banff. It's in let's say west part of Canada, and again mountains. Like my soul, I think I'm in an old soul who was some kind of an animal or something in my previous life. If you believe in these things, somewhere in the mountains. So I find my peace, and I like to hike. It's my form of exercise as well. And here, like again, to see that not all the views are nice. When you travel, it gets rainy, it gets snowy, it gets windy. So this is me when I went for a hike in Philippines to, let's say, not very tall or let's say high mountain. And when I came to the top, it was such a nice view, let's say. It was just foggy and rainy, and this is me making the best of it, like with the photo. And yeah, so and this is also like I would like to say, don't be sad if you have a bad weather day. It's, you know, it's just different. You'll just have a different experience, and perhaps something else, yeah, will be there for to observe, if not like what everything else observed before. Okay, and now coming to the last few slides. I got questions: how do you deal with loneliness? What are some ways I can connect with others on the road? So I put this photo of me reaching the peak of Royce Peak in New Zealand. So it's such a peaceful view. I'm sorry, such a peaceful view, and at the beginning, like you feel lonely perhaps at some point, but it's just you feel lonely because you're used to all these impulses, you know, we're having all the day, you know, we're used to looking at like 2 3 screens at the same times, talking, typing, listening, looking, everything. And when you kind of get detached, it takes time, of course. It takes time to get used to that. If you just are, as I say, if you just are, and just, you know, sitting in the silence and observing this wonderful view, it's okay. It's okay to just breathe and to just listen to yourself. What are the thoughts? What is your thought process when you're going through? So that is how, you know, kind of you start working with it, and then you see that being with yourself is a wonderful thing. It's like you have a funny person to hang out with. You can tell this person everything what you want, and you know, they won't share it with you. And yeah, it's always, you know, who is the only person who stays with you for your whole life? It's yourself. So, you know, you might as well also learn how to kind of be good company to yourself. And yeah, so what are some nice ways I can connect with others on the road? Like I said, if you go to places where other people gather, or travelers, or I use like couchsurfing application, I use Meetup application, I used a lot of Facebook groups that, you know, you can chat and talk. And of course, where's the best way to meet people is to go to places where where there is common interest, like either hiking, scuba diving, like all, or going to museums if this is what you like. And these are just a few photos of me when people say you were lonely on the way. And these are all the people I was meeting on the way. So just, you know, a few photos of how it was, like New Zealand, Philippines, Africa. And here, like again, I put some photos, Cambodia, Philippines, Sweden, New Zealand, India, Australia, and different kinds of people. No matter the age, no matter profession, like all sorts of things. So these are all my photos of. So don't be afraid that you will be lonely. Just keep your eyes open, like what is out there, and try to talk to a person. And if they won't feel like talking, people will show. So don't worry about that. And yeah, don't forget why you left in the first place. Let's world is an amusing place, and people love to smile everywhere. So this is just, let's say, a funny photo I took in New Zealand, um, in front of a sausage truck. So I found it very, very funny, and I like to show it as like this. So, and the last slide, be brave enough to be bad at something new. And this is me in Sweden in Lindy Hop Camp. I was accepting people when they came for the late, let's say, late dance, and just do it. Just try to listen to yourself. You will be surprised how much your body will tell you if you just listen to it. So if you have any questions right now, we can go, and yeah, and that's it. So thank you for being with me. I hope we still have some people, and that's it.
It was incredible, and very, very, very amazing
That was
story.
so interesting, Spela. I really want to start traveling like
Yeah,
immediately. Yeah, because these are experiences, right? Like there's
Yes.
there's nothing that can replace those. So
Yes.
awesome.
Yes.
Thank you so much. This was so interesting. I just
Thank
had one question. Which country would you say is like, which you would highly recommend?
Yes. Um, like I said, it's hard to say which, it depends what would you like, but like I always say that New Zealand is a very it's very safe. It's very touristic, like friendly country. It's very easy to go around. People are absolutely gorgeous, and nature. It's very, very nice. I always joke, that New Zealand is like a woman. Everywhere you will touch or look, you will find something amazing. So just that, if I have to pick one right now.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
do we have any questions? From New Zealand, Netherlands, India, Philippines to Africa, so many countries we have traveled in just 1 hour, and we could do this just because of you, Spela.
Yeah.
Such a remarkable adventure.
Yeah, just here I'll go back to the map.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was like, it was very rough going around. It wasn't like, but yeah, some bloggers are more focused on going that every country, and but I like to stay more if I can in a specific country and then do this. Yeah.
Wow, just truly incredible. Thank you for sharing your inspiring travel journey with us today, Shreya. I'm sure all are inspired to start our own solo journey. We'll be sure to be using your simple tips, tricks, and on travel budget safety. And most of all, we'll surely, will you have taught us to how to enjoy it all and find your own peace. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah. Thank you so much, your pistachio, and really I was very